What's going on, everybody? My name is Ryan Snod. It rhymes with odd, and you're listening to the Rhymes with Odd podcast. Today's guest helps businesses take the ever-evolving world of AI technology and implement it into their business and make an impact. We've got Adam Viet in the house today. We'll talk with him in a second. He is an Iowa-based growth strategist and the founder of Big Creek Growth. He's also the podcast host of the Shooters Touch basketball podcast. We might have to talk some basketball in a second. He's also the author of Iowa's Startup Silo. While the rest of the world is distracted by AI's kind of cool factor, Adam's really focused on its utility, which we're going to talk a lot about today and how it can help you guys in business. He specializes in helping Iowa business owners implement that high leverage AI workflow and helping people replace manual labor with automated systems. We're doing a little bit of this, so I'm really curious on a personal side, but really excited for you guys as well. With deep roots in Iowa and in the ecosystem that exists here, I know you have a degree from UNI, so We'll talk about that. You kind of blend that like roll up your sleeves work ethic with that cutting edge technology strategy. So I think this will be a good way that we're not going to hopefully talk over everybody's heads, help you guys quite a bit. He's also a Polk City local, live 2 minutes away. So
yes, I do.
Could have walked here maybe if the weather is a little nicer later today. You're also currently on a mission to prove that this next generation of the great American company can be built here in what would we call the prairie. What's the tech prairie? Is that what that's called?
We'll call it tech prairie. Let's
tech
do that.
Prairie?
Let's do
okay,
that.
We'll call it that. Right here in the Midwest. Adam, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you very much. I'm excited to be here.
Yes. Well, we've got, again, a slightly seasoned pro. You got your own podcast here, so you're not completely in the weeds here. Mm-hmm. So I appreciate you taking the time today.
Yeah, absolutely. And my show is virtual, so this in-person thing's a little different, but I'm enjoying it so far.
Sure. We're off to a good start. I mean, I'm very biased, obviously, with an in-person show because we do them all the time, but I think the conversations are better. After like 30 minutes, you're like,
Is that usually how it goes?
Yeah, on video, at least on video calls for me. Maybe it's COVID. I'm jaded from COVID.
Right,
so, okay. So I would say we'll kind of jump into your backstory in a second, but I think I want to start with a really big picture question first. So, really, why should a 25-year-old like landscaping owner or a 32-year-old boutique agency owner in Des Moines, why should these like small business owners care about AI?
That's a good question because I think that especially in Iowa, a lot of business owners, small business owners are in the mindset of, hey, I've always done things this way. It's worked, right? But if you want to expand, if you want to make your days and weeks easier or more efficient, AI is the way to do that. And, you know, I tell this to the customers I have and the people I meet with all the time. I hate to say it's easy, but it is kind of easy to do this stuff. There's some, entry level stuff that you can, essentially really take off your plate every day, every week that will make your day more efficient and your day easier. And as business owners, as you know, that's what we're looking for. You're doing everything at once all the time. Why not take some things off your plate if you can?
No, I love that. And we'll talk more about that today. I think a good place to start before we jump too much in the weeds is just kind of get an idea of who you are and where you're from. So tell me kind of about your backstory. Where'd you grow up and what was your childhood like?
Sure. I'm from Ackley, Iowa, a real small town in between Iowa Falls and Cedar Falls in northeast Iowa. Small town, grew up, have a younger brother, mom and dad that still live in Ackley, farming community. So when I was in high school, I worked on a farm, played all the sports, did everything. We were talking before we started recording here, but, would ride my bike out to the pool to my friend's house every day. Just was constantly doing things, constantly active and stuff like that. After high school, went to UNI. I was fortunate enough to get a scholarship to play basketball there. So, played there from 03 to 08. And, majored in exercise science. One of those deals where I didn't really know what I was interested in, but I knew I liked to be active and like to work out. So exercise science seemed like a path that I would want to take. Gave the personal training thing a try for about 6 months, and getting to the gym at 3 a.m. and leaving at 9:45 at night just didn't seem conducive to me to, number one, start a family, but number two, as a 25, 26-year-old that, I need my sleep, right? So, kind of graduated to the insurance world in Des Moines, as a lot of people do here, and kind of bounced around, and then found recruiting where I spent the majority of my, professional career here before I started my business.
That's great. What would be like your biggest connection from like working on a farm and then playing like D1 sports? Because I feel like that's probably a wild jump, but probably not in terms of like the workload,
Yeah, it's hard work, right? Like I say this all the time, but I would never want to be a farmer because it was just all the time, just hard work. Everything you did was hard. It wasn't easy. And then you go to basketball, playing at UNI, playing the competition you play. That's a different type of hard work, right? You got to be in shape. You got to, always be in shape, always be getting stronger, always be able to jump higher, shoot better and stuff like that. So I would say, working on the farm helped me in life just to kind of realize what hard work was. Whether it be I wanted to or not, but that was hard. And then obviously, as you look back as an older person now, athletics, being on a team, stuff like that taught me all that stuff, hard work, teamwork, what it's like to be an individual on a team and really try to carry your load on that team as an individual.
That's great. Is there I would say, lesson that you took from your childhood or kind of a mindset that you've kind of carried into adulthood or a theme that's kind of stuck with you all these years?
Yeah. My mom and dad were very big on, not caring what the task was, but just, you just go do it. And I think that is such a huge value in my life now, where I say this to my kids all the time, hey, why are we complaining? We have to do it anyway. So let's just go do it and get it over with, right? Like I think that mindset that my mom and dad had while they were, while I was living with them, and even now, that is, as I look back, that's been a huge growth help on my end, where, like I said, you don't have to like what you do, as far as, a day to day, but make sure you're just constantly moving forward, constantly growing. And that mindset has helped me a lot.
No, that's great. You mentioned that you kind of moved into recruiting. Talk me through kind of the last couple steps that have led you to where you're at now, kind of running your own business.
Yeah, sure. So, last couple steps I would say is I was working for a local company here as a recruiter, recruiting application developers, project managers, scrum masters, stuff like that. I got an opportunity from a connection that I connected with on LinkedIn to join his company to recruit at a robotic surgery company out of San Francisco. One of those deals where I really love the company I work for here in Urbandale, but it was one of those things where it was an opportunity in my head, I could not pass that opportunity up. These robots do entire surgeries without the human hand even touching the patient, which, is just still wild to think about. But so I started recruiting for them. That was as, things were getting, it was after COVID, but also after kind of the highs of the job market. And so, was let go from that job here because of a layoff. And, that kind of got me thinking like, okay, if I really want to keep, recruiting or doing these things, maybe it's good to start my own business. So honestly, I spent the money and, started in an LLC and didn't really know what I was going to do with it, but it's kind of grown into an opportunity for me to do kind of what I like to do. I can recruit from this company, but I can also work with small businesses on improving their AI footprint and helping them be more efficient. So, while I did launch the business as kind of I'm just going to do this, I don't know what I'm going to do with it. It has been a super huge benefit for me and really allowed me to do things that, I enjoy doing and help the people I want to help.
That's fantastic. I think it's interesting too, because this industry, if you'll call it, the tech boom of AI, it's everyone needs help with it. So, I mean, if 100 more people opened up a shop doing what you do, like there would still be a demand for it. There's just a lot there. So
I agree. And I mentioned the people I like to help, and those people are small businesses. Those people are the solopreneurs, the founders that are, in it every day. And, I talk to a lot of people that are of the mindset of, hey, yeah, I know AI can help me, but man, I go online and look what AI tools I can use for this and that. And there's a million of them out there. And I look at that list, I'm like, I'll just keep doing it. Mm-hmm. And so like, that's an aspect of what I do too, is like, hey, you can use these 3 tools, very entry level, like that stuff too. But yeah, I enjoy it.
That's awesome. You also mentioned I mentioned you're a podcast host as well. Mm-hmm. When did you start your show?
That is a good question. A long time ago. I think it was right when COVID shut the world down. me and a buddy, we'd always talk basketball, and we were just kind of like, at that point, and even now, it's easy to start a podcast, right? I think we used Anchor, which I don't know if you ever heard of Anchor.
Sure.
Yep. Now I think Spotify for podcasters, but use that. We recorded on our phone, and it was just audio. I legit had my phone up here talking to my phone, recording a podcast. So I would say probably right around 5 or 6 years ago is when we started that.
Sure. Well, it's interesting too, because now you're 6 years into the throes of it. It's hard to stay consistent with it. So, and
you look at our episodes and you'll see that, there was times where we're, take 4 or 5 months off potentially. We talk about basketball. So there's always like, oh, we'll talk during basketball season. Right. Yep. So we can always fall back on that. But, there was probably a year and a half where we had a guest most every week for a year and a half, which that's, as you know, that's hard. A lot of work. And, I got kids. My co-host has a lot more kids than I do. So, he's hard to nail down sometimes too, but, it's been good and it's been fun. And, as I mentioned, played college basketball, have loved basketball my whole life. So it's kind of easy doing that.
Sure. No, it sounds like a fun hobby project and keeping your skills sharp there. I think jumping into kind of the weeds here, I think a good place to start would probably be like the hype versus the reality of AI. So you kind of talk a lot about like cutting through the hype. What would you say is like the biggest misconception that Iowa business owners have when they hear the word AI or the phrase AI?
Sure. Well, Iowa businesses that AI is robots. AI is not always robots. Sometimes it is, but definitely not always robots. I think it's, a lot of the misconception is you have to have all of these aspects of your business using AI. I've talked to people and, business owners who are like, okay, I just don't want my whole business to be run on AI. I was like, yeah, that doesn't have to be the way. I mean, a lot of people probably could be, but just you take, when I meet with people, my advice to them a lot of times is, what is one manual task you do on a daily or weekly basis? They tell me 2 or 3. I say, okay, let's start with this one. Let's find a product. Let's find a platform, an AI platform that we can use that can get this off your plate. So I think the misconception is that if you use AI, your whole business has to be using AI, or everything you do is AI. And that's not the case.
Sure. No, that makes total sense. I think that's the other thing is if you don't know where to start, it's like an all or nothing thing to a lot of these people too.
You're absolutely right. Yep. And if you don't know where to start, where do I start?
Sure.
And so that's, like I said, I meet with people all the time. That's like, start here. Let's do this. Let's do this easy exercise that can evaluate where you can start to use AI.
Perfect. Let's take it a step further and talk about a good example or like a really great place to start for like $0 for someone. What's like a really easy or a task that you see a lot of that you're like, oh, you need to put this in through an AI platform?
Yeah. So with Google's Gemini, you can use Google's tools. We'll just say Gmail, and it can evaluate your emails on you with you, and that's free. You can obviously pay for the email account and stuff like that. You can pay for Gemini actually, but evaluating some of the data that you have in a Google Sheet or a Google Doc, you can do that for free. And, whether it be a contract, hey, what does this contract look like compared to others I've signed? That's a great way to start. And that's all free too. You can do a lot of things that on a daily basis that are with the free account or with no subscription with some of the AI tools out there.
Sure. Well, I think having that all tied together is great. We just found this out. We were using ChatGPT mostly up until recently, and then we found out that we have the like higher tier Google accounts for myself and my editor, and like, oh, we have like Gemini Plus for free, and we're like, well, let's check this out. Image generation, some video generation. It's really nice of putting like a look for us anyway. An application is client wants to have like a storyboard for a video rather than go out and shoot everything and then be like, do you like this? And like, no, we can throw it through and say, drone shot of Des Moines skyline, or, a cowboy shot of a female talent doing this, that, or the other. Like, you can give the prompt to it and it'll just spit out like a visual, which is great.
And I think Gemini is one of the better tools for the video creation and image creation as well. So yeah, good for you guys.
Perfect. Yeah. Well, and I'm sure we'll talk about use cases. I just think a lot of those are like, they're such a big topic. People have like no clue where to even start. So that's a great place to go. I know for like on the practical implementation side, you'd kind of talked about in your newsletter, this like 10 different workflows that small businesses could implement like now. Talk us through like 2 or 3 that you think have like some of the fastest ROI or the biggest impact for businesses.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, for a lot of small businesses and, who have maybe a storefront, I always use the example of a chiropractor. My chiropractor, who I used to go to, would always be changing front desk individuals that are working there because, hey, they're paid hourly, some of them work part-time. So I talked to him about an AI platform that can answer phone calls, that can also answer questions on those phone calls, but also, hey, I need an appointment Friday at 10. Okay, he's not available, but he's available at 11. Could you do 11? Yes, I can do 11. So they put that on the calendar. And if there's ever a question that, the AI doesn't have the data for or can't answer, it escalates that to the person or the chiropractor or whoever it is. So, I mean, that, as I mentioned before, I hate saying anything's easy because I don't think anything's easy, but that is relatively easy to implement for that person, for that business. Like data entry is a huge use case that I've come across a lot.
Because who likes doing that crap?
I mean, I know that I don't. I don't know about anybody else.
Even like data nerds, if you call them in the nicest way, they probably don't want to do the entry. They like analyze it. Maybe.
They want to analyze it. Yes,
they don't want to like.
Yep.
1, 2, 3. Like, oh man.
Yep. And in these, depending on obviously the platform or tool you use, I mean, it can create, brand new Google Sheets, brand new Microsoft, what's the word? Spreadsheets. Geez, I haven't used spreadsheets for a while.
Like an Excel spreadsheet or something like that.
Excel spreadsheet, all those things. Like it can create that for you with data that you give it, and it saves it for you. It's right there. You don't have to enter any data, just copy and paste if you want to. And so those 2 or 3 ways, I think, are some of the entry level ways that I've come across.
Sure. No, that's great. I think another kind of thing is that you've talked about like how startups can use, like I would say like fractional workforce. Talk to me about that a little bit. What does that look like versus a system that answers the phone call versus like a fractional workforce item?
Sure. Yeah. So fractional workforce is essentially you're getting, let's just say a CTO. You get a CTO with 20 years of experience, typically would probably have to pay that person $250, $350 a year.
Sure.
Right.
And that's chief technology officer.
Chief technology,
$300,000 a year for people listening.
Yes. Sorry. Yes.
No, you're
yes.
good. You're
yes.
good.
Correct. And then, you get a fractional person that gives you maybe, we'll just say 10 hours a week. So you're getting 20 years of experience as a chief technology officer. Only he or she's only working 10 hours a week for you. So you only have to pay for 10 hours a week. Huge benefits for startups, small businesses, small companies in general. Not only because you're getting that knowledge, but, I think an aspect of that's maybe sometimes not chatted about enough is you're getting that person's network too. So he or she's been working for 20 years as a CTO. They know a bunch of people that could help your business, and you only have to pay for 10 hours a week. Just such a huge, unlock when you're talking about trying to expand, trying to grow, but not having the or maybe not wanting to pay all that money for a CTO when, I'm a small business. I don't necessarily have that much money, but I can pay for 10 hours a week for sure.
Sure. I think even just using that model for any kind of scaling business, because sometimes you lean into it and like, I don't want to bite off the huge salary on this person, and hopefully they make that and more back, make it worth their salary cost. But it's like, it's hard to justify something like that too.
You're exactly right. And I think that there's more of those fractional individuals coming up every day or wanting to do that type of work, because you think about it as the individual. Let's just say I'm the fractional person. I've worked a couple fractional gigs, and, I work 20 hours a week for one company and 20 hours a week for the next. And you get that, you're not doing the same thing every day. You have that, what's the word I'm looking for? Differentiation between, this company. So it's cool. I get to do, maybe a couple things that I enjoy. So you're not doing kind of the same thing every day, every week.
Well, I'm sure there's people in the workforce that if they were a really successful CTO, maybe they're a part owner in a tech company, it exited, they're like, could retire, but they want to keep the saw sharp. They want to still like be in the weeds with somebody and not maybe a full-time gig or all the pressure of like, if you're an executive for a tech startup, it's like you have to work 100 hours a week type of deal.
You're right.
So that's always kind of cool too. Mm-hmm. I know we kind of talked bigger picture for more the industry in whole, but I think it'd be great to kind of jump into like a local use case. So we've got, I would say, like without naming any names, can you share kind of a story of a local Iowa business that you've helped, and maybe like before what they were doing and then after? You mentioned like a chiropractor example, but maybe a couple of those just to give people an idea of how they could use it.
Sure. Yeah. So I've helped certain company with like lead generation. There are AI platforms out there that go out, they scrape the internet for contact information, and then you can set them up in campaigns or what they call sequences. So really what I'm doing is just creating the platform, and then creating all the data behind what they're looking for customers, and then creating the messaging with AI's help, right? So these platforms all create messaging that they've used for years and years that you can automatically send out. So AI writes the message, AI finds the person, you put them in a sequence, and a sequence is essentially, hey, I'm going to send this email out. If they don't respond within a week, I'll send another one. If they don't respond within a week, I'll send a LinkedIn connection request, those types of sequences. And that's it. Historically, and the data that I've read, it's for lead generation. You don't get a response typically before 3 or 4 connection points. So an email, you got to send 3 or 4 emails before somebody actually responds to it. And so that's just, you think about sending all those emails manually, typing all those emails up, and, having a list of 150, 200 people that you want to connect with takes a lot of time. With AI, it can happen seamlessly. And really all you have to do is do the initial work to set it up correctly. And then it kind of runs on its own, and you're hopefully consistently getting those leads in, getting those connection points, and, really expanding your business, growing your business until, hey, I'm here. Okay, now I need to grow. Or yeah, let's shut that off, and, I'll come back to it.
Well, I think it's an interesting case where, like you mentioned, what's the thing that's like you dread or you're not good at, or the thing that just wouldn't happen if you didn't use a tool? Because I think the hard thing, even for a local business, like answering the phone, how many, just looking at the numbers, like how many calls are you missing a month, and how much revenue is that for your business? It's like really easy and justifiable to like put something in place, even if it's not like 100% perfect, and maybe the AI program doesn't do it exactly, but it's like no one would answer the phone if it wasn't for this. So like we can't afford to hire someone to sit at the desk and wait all day, like, that type of thing.
You're exactly right. And I think that, like a landscaping company or a mowing company or snow a removal company, I've worked on a couple, I guess, applications you'd call them, but whether that be an answering service, or whether it be, hey, you get an immediate quote if you go to our website on what our service looks like, because a lot of these owners are still operators. They're still individual contributors. They're still mowing those yards. They're still, pushing that snow or working on landscape, but they're the owners of the company. So when they're doing that, they can't necessarily answer the phone all the time. So, that industry, I think, is ripe for those couple things that we have talked about so far.
Sure. Well, and it's, again, like I always call it when we do discovery meetings, it's like, where's the hole in the boat? Like, where are you guys hemorrhaging the most time, attention, money? What's the thing that if we plug that hole, that it would change the business drastically? So I think that's a big piece, is like, maybe for that example, it's like maybe that guy needs to hire another laborer and get in the office, or if he hates doing sales, or like hire someone that does that, even if it's remote, like again, fractional team, like maybe you can find a sales rep that closes deals, that there's a setter and a closer that you could find that they're based on commission. Like there's ways you can do this, even if it's not an AI tool. It's like, there's a lot of solutions anymore to help solve problems for people. You're
exactly right. And I think that, there are, especially in the Midwest, Iowa specifically, maybe is, hey, I've mentioned it previously, but we've always done it this way. And being open to new things, being open to new ideas is such a power of a business owner that, I, in my experience, the ones that do that, the ones that are open to new things have shown growth and have expanded a lot quicker than others.
Sure. No, it makes total sense. I think another piece of this too is a lot of people think when they think AI, a lot of them just think like ChatGPT. That's like it. So what are some of those other like must-have tools that an entrepreneur's tech stack should have this year? So it'd be like, we mentioned like meeting assistants or like automation platforms, specialized AI stuff. Like what do you recommend people look into?
Sure. So if you're a business owner, depending on what, I guess, email service you use. I mean, Google's Gemini is coming out with a lot of things. They're adding a lot of things as different platforms come out. So that's one that I think that if you're using the Google or Gmail suite, utilize Gemini as much as you can. But there's also more or less assistants coming out. So I've been using an assistant called Lindy AI, and it essentially you set up an assistant on their website, and then you can start to communicate with it over text. So hey Lindy, what's my day look like? It gives you your day in a text message, and that's huge for me because I'm pretty bad with email. As hopefully not, I'm not the only one, but having a text on my phone, I have a lot of missed emails or unread emails, but I have 0 unread text messages. So like having that there is huge. But I think the assistant world, the assistant AI platforms are going to start to blow up. I know Claude's launching one, and I'm sure Google has theirs coming out too. But so the assistant world, but then also the AI within the email, Gmail, Microsoft has one too, Copilot. But those types of things are huge too.
That's awesome. I think, again, it's always good to hear what use cases people use, because I remember I was having a conversation with a really close connection of mine, a mentor of mine, and he was like owner operator of a business. And he's like, Ryan, when are you going to hire an assistant and help manage your calendar and do all that? And I'm like, dude, I use a free software tool. Like, what are you talking about? Why would I pay someone? He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, literally Calendly, man, it's free. Like, oh, when are you free? Like, just send them a link. And then, what's the next step? Like, throw it into our workflow in our CRM, where once they book a project and pay their deposit, and the next step is book a kickoff meeting every time. So it's like, send the automated email like, hey, thanks for booking the project. Like, let's book a meeting. And then it just scans my calendar and sees when I'm free. I have 0 touch in that. That saves me like 4 or 5 hours a week. I don't have to do it.
A week, right? Yeah. And that's crazy to think about as you go on weeks times 52, right?
And it's free.
That's insane to think about, right?
Yeah.
And it's as easy as starting a Calendly account and setting up the days and times that you're available. That's it.
Sure.
Yep.
And I know there's other ones that are really buzzy. Like, I was in a couple meetings recently, people using Otter AI, which is it transcribes a meeting, gives talking points, what have you, which I don't mind those. It just, some of the platforms I get kind of old manish with is when someone else uses it and they send you the transcription, you can't open it without creating an account. And I'm like, I don't want no. And then one of them, I was halfway through it and I'm like, God dang it, they're trying to sign me up for it. I'm like, I don't want it. So then I'm getting I'm in their marketing email list. I'm like, dang it. Now this has happened. So tread with caution. If I'm one of those, like I said, these old man people. I'm like, I don't want the damn emails coming to my inbox.
That's good. I like it.
Yeah. Cause I'm the way you are with text is the way I'm with email. Every day I have a 0 inbox, even if I got to check it at
no kidding
10 o'clock at night. Like yesterday we had a shoot all day.
Yep.
And it was a Monday. So I missed my team meetings. I missed my contractor updates, my CPA talking to me about tax stuff. So I'm like, I had probably 80 emails.
Good for you.
But it's just zip through them at the night, finish it out. But there's some stuff people have tried to get me on a tool just have an autoresponder. I'm like, there's some things that could slip through the cracks.
Yep.
And I am the admin for the company currently. So I'm like, I don't want to, I have to do it myself for now anyway. So
there are, and maybe you use this, but there are platforms or services that just create a draft for you. They don't send it. So every incoming email, if it's not a newsletter or whatever you want to call it, but they do create a draft that you obviously look at it before you send it. And then, maybe it's already written and you're like, yep, looks good, send. But maybe look into that. But gosh, good for you. You would not like my email inbox right now.
Is it thousands? Adam, is it thousands?
It is thousands.
Oh, no. That's my burner Gmail that I use for shopping. Whenever they're like, give me your email, I usually tell them no. And if they're like, well, I need it, I'm like, here's my burner. And that one has 15,000 unread because I don't check it.
Because it's a burner. Yep. I get it. Yeah. And not, sometimes I obviously emails slip through the cracks, but it's a lot of the newsletters that you're like, oh, this seems cool to read.
Yep.
And then a year and a half later, you're like, I haven't read one of those since I thought it was cool to read, so.
Well, there's a couple school groups I'm in, mastermind groups and things. One of them is an AI one. I'll have to plug you in with Ryan Dozer if you're familiar with him.
Yep.
He's got one that's a really good group. And he had an interview with someone recently that I was wanting to watch back, but I got the email. I'm kind of just leaving it unread for later. But then there's a lot of that stuff where it's if I had a free day, I'll go through and kind of get caught up on stuff I'm seeing. But that's the things that slip through the cracks. We have a Facebook group that I started probably 12 years ago for freelance videographers that has 94,000 members in it. but we never see anything because it's like, unless you check Facebook,
Sure.
you won't see it.
Yeah.
So some of those groups are great because if you know, hey, this group has a lot of info I want or need, then you can just set up an email that comes. But I know there's even ways you can do it where there's AI tools that you can automatically flag things based on, if it's from this one, it's probably newsletter or whatever. And there's ways to set your inbox up that kind of helps with efficiency that way.
Yeah. Yeah. So this, it's the assistant Lindy tool that I was using. Like it flags things like that too. So even if it creates a draft in your email, every email that comes in, but it also labels emails. So if it's a newsletter, you can see it's a newsletter. If it's, can't remember what all the tags are, but it does do that too. And it creates drafts, and you can even send it. I can send it a text, say, hey, if Ryan sent me an email, he just sent me an email, respond with something like this. And then it says, yep, I'll write that up and I'll respond.
That's great. Yeah. It's kind of like I would say like hands-free Siri. If you're ever in your car, like we just got a new truck that has Bluetooth. My daily driver is like a 17 Jeep. It does not have the technology, and the roof's off half the time anyway. So I'm like, text Dad, I'm back, but I'm running 5 minutes late. Like it wouldn't take it. Yep. But some of them, it's like that. It's like, hey, you just got a text from your wife. Like, can you read it? It'll read it. And then like, reply to this or whatever.
You're absolutely right.
So that's really handy if you are like just on the run. Cause there's sometimes I'll get a text where I'm like, I need to call them, but I don't have time. So use like a voice chat and just pump it out or whatever. It's like some of those things you could probably revise it of like,
absolutely
make this sound more professional.
And, you mentioned Siri, and that's one thing that I'm hoping that company that I'm hoping, starts to maybe dip their toes in AI a little bit more is Apple. Because I think that, they're historically kind of not behind, but
they're always laggards for being a tech innovation company.
Yes.
Google's always like, the Android will come out with a fingerprint technology. And it was like cutting edge. And that like their black turtleneck is like, imagine this. I'm like, Android did that 6 years ago.
It's already been imagined.
Yeah. I mean, I have an iPhone and an iPad right now, but it's like, I mean, I know it's like, Android finished it. Let's get it in development. We'll get it done in 5 years.
Let's try to get it developed and get it taken care of. But yeah, that's one company I hope starts to expand their AI footprint or their platform at least, because I think that there could be a lot of good that could come with that. And you rarely see somebody walk around without an iPhone or an iPad or whatever it is. So
one, it's the arms race right now because it's whoever can get. I mean, ChatGPT was the first on the ground. They stuck that flag in the ground, but it's like so many other tools have come where it's really just going to be how can this integrate easily with my life? And I think Gemini is a great example of like, since we're already on Google Workspace, it makes so much more sense to use a tool that can read my spreadsheets, that can read my emails already, that, you just hope they're not using it for, what did you sign away in your terms and conditions? Exactly. You just really hope they're not, running a ton of ads to you or selling that information to people.
Yep, you're right. And that's why I hope Apple, kind of takes a lead and, works on this a little bit more, because you're right. I mean, it's always in your pocket. You have everything on your phone. And if it could help you out a little bit more, I think Apple could do a good job of that, but
sure,
time will tell.
I know Tim's listening to this right now. Tim Cook, you get this going.
Yes, please.
You're listening to this conversation. I think we'll kind of jump back to the conversation in a second. We're going to do the lightning round quick. So we'll kind of do our quick rapid fire questions. Have not briefed you on these, so these will be fun. Coming out strong, you or Charles Barkley, current day Charles Barkley, who's winning in a one-on-one half court, first to 13 points?
Me.
Okay. You can take Charles Barkley.
Yeah. I feel like he is, I'm definitely not quick by any means, but I feel like I'm a little quicker than him.
Sure.
And my gig was to like shoot threes when I was playing. So I would make a couple of those, and I wouldn't be able to stop him, but I feel like I could be able to score more points than him. Yeah.
So you can take Charles. How about Shaq? Who you got?
I'm not giving myself Shaq. No,
okay.
No.
He can't move like he used to, but he's also 7'2".
So he could stand in the lane and still probably block my.
He brought his goaltend.
Get that out of here, man.
He's like,
come on, man, you can't do that in here.
That was a good one.
Thank you. What is your favorite or most sentimental possession that you own?
Sentimental. Actually, it's funny. My wife was just talking about this the other day. I have a couple NCAA tournament rings from when I was playing at UNI. And they're just sitting in the cupboard in the garage. And she's like, when are we going to get rid of these? And I was just like, I can't. No. So that's one of them.
Did you guys go to the tournament when you were playing?
We did. Yeah.
Okay.
My first 3 years at UNI, we went to the tournament.
What round did you guys get knocked out?
First round.
Okay. You still made it though.
Yeah, we still made it.
That's great.
It kind of funny story. We lost by 5 every year.
As a 16
each
seed?
Year. Let's see. First year we were 14.
Okay. I was going to say, if you're playing number one, like a Duke or a Kentucky, it's like, it's usually a blowout that first round.
Yeah, so we played Georgia Tech, who ended up getting second the first year. Wisconsin, when they had a really good team that year too, and then Georgetown the last year that I was there. So yes, we played 3 really good teams.
Well, you got to get a little like shadow box or something. Really display those if you're proud of those. You don't want to throw them in the garage.
Yeah, well, that's where they're at now. But maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll do that so I can actually keep them. I suppose. But.
Sure. No, that's great. I love it. Where's your, I would say, favorite place you've ever visited before?
Oh man, love Colorado Springs. Really love Colorado Springs, and then probably San Diego.
Okay,
San Diego is a really cool vibe, cool city, and obviously on the ocean. Can't beat that.
Sure. Have you ever gone international before? And gone anywhere else?
When I was playing at UNI, we went to we actually went to Bangkok, Thailand.
Oh wow!
To play for 18 or 20 days.
Did you guys get out in the city, or did you kind of keep yourselves?
Not really.
Okay.
We had one day when we could do a little sightseeing. We went to a castle and that type of thing. But yeah, we played a lot of basketball there.
Sure. Start roaming the streets, and then some pretty lady boy starts rubbing your back. Who is this?
We got about 2 hours of a prep. Like somebody drove in to prep us on what we can do and can't do in Thailand.
Oh my gosh! I'm so glad they did that for you guys.
The massage parlors were one of them.
Yep.
One interesting one is not to cross your legs as well, because you show the bottom of a shoe, and that's an insult to people over there. Yeah. So that was kind of an interesting one that I always kind of bring with me. It's just you never know kind of what people are thinking, I suppose.
Sure.
But yeah, so that was a good trip. And I've done a cruise to Virgin Islands, but
nice.
Never really outside as much as Thailand was.
Sure.
Yeah.
I love it. I can't remember what country it is, but like the OK sign, this is a middle finger in a lot of countries.
No kidding.
So when we went for study abroad, they informed us on that too.
That's just that stuff's so interesting.
If someone says, "Hey, it was your food," and you go like this, so like they're gonna like spit in your food next time. Like, don't do it. Okay, a question here. Would you rather? Let's see here. What I just want to how do I phrase this one properly? Be a solo entrepreneur and have no employees and make $100,000 a year profit in your business, or would you rather have 10 employees and make $500,000 in profit a year from the business?
Solo.
Okay. Why?
I've never had employees myself, and I feel like I don't know how I'd handle being in charge of people's well-being, if that makes sense.
Yeah, their livelihood.
Yep. It kind of all relies on me. So I say that answer because I'm just not sure how I would react to that and how I would handle that.
Interesting.
So, yeah.
No, that's great. No wrong answer there. So, okay, this might be a controversial one. What's the best basketball team to ever take the court in history? Like the best starting 5 you've ever seen?
Oh man. Either the 90s Bulls or the Warriors when they were winning those championships with like Clay and Steph.
Yep.
Andre Iguodala was there.
Yep.
Yeah, one of those two.
That's great. I'd probably say the All-Star team, the West All-Star team in like late 2000s. There was like LeBron, Carmelo, D-Wade. They ended up like having an All-Star team. I'm like, this is like the best team I've ever seen. Like Chris Bosh, there's like all of them were like all on the team at the same time. So that's great. I remember too when I was a kid, we were the Miami Heat was our team for the little when we were little kids with our little t-shirt jerseys on, and I got number 3. And I was like, I'm like D-Wade. And I was like, who's Dwayne Wade? I'm like, what do you mean he was Dwayne? They didn't know the players.
Come on.
But I'm also like a larger person, and they went like the lower numbers of the smaller sizes. So I was wearing like a little like Winnie the Pooh t-shirt, like busting out of that thing.
That's
but
great.
I wanted number 3.
Number 3, yep.
It's like you see those
a big deal.
defensive linemen that are wearing like a single digit number, and they're like pushing 450.
Just
and the shirt,
that's my number, right?
The shirt just covers their nipple. I'm like, what is happening? Okay, so another question here is, if you could have dinner with anyone that is dead, not dead or alive, but someone that's dead, who you eating dinner with and why?
Oh man, my mind immediately went to John Wooden.
Okay.
just because of the history with basketball and his
And who is that?
leadership. So he was a coach for a long time for UCLA.
Okay.
Excuse me. And he has multiple books on leadership and all that good stuff. So I've read most of those. So I'd probably go with him.
Sure.
Just because of, like I said, the basketball background and being able to talk hoops with him, but also, being super interested in leadership and his mindset on that too.
I love it.
Yep.
I love it. Wrapping out the lightning round, probably the most controversial question. Who is the GOAT of basketball? Who's the best player?
LeBron James.
Okay.
Yep. And
Why?
It's
Compare. I mean, everyone says him or MJ, but why?
Sure,
why
yeah.
him?
I just think he's he scored more points, has more rebounds, he's played more games, all of those stats. But I always go back to like a one-on-one game, and I don't know if Jordan could stop LeBron because of his athleticism and how big he is.
Right. Because he's like 6'8", right? 6'7".
6'8",
But he can
tall,
move. He can move like a point guard,
athletic.
though.
Yep.
Or at least 10 years ago he could.
he can really play any position. But I also told myself I'd never argue about this again because I've argued about this quite a bit.
Sure.
But yes, I would go LeBron James.
Okay,
Yep.
good. I know a lot of people just, especially if they're over the age of 30, almost always say MJ just because when they were younger,
Yep.
that's who was on TV and
Yep.
that's who they idolized. So it's hard to say.
There for sure is an age group with those players for sure.
Sure.
Yep.
Well, I equate it to football is kind of my sport I like to watch,
Mhm.
especially now as NFL football. That's like all I can ever get to watch. Because it's on Sundays and I can like plan my day
You
and
have a
like
little rest,
get over there. But it's people say like Brady is the best quarterback of all time, which I totally agree. But it's like, I mean, what's our scoring card? It's just winning, then sure.
Yeah.
In leadership, sure. But it's like the dude can't run. He's not athletic. He can't. He probably couldn't do like 50 push-ups.
You're right.
But it's like there's also some like freak athletes in the NFL that are not the best position player.
Yeah.
It's like who can get the most opportunities to make a play, but also you got to be on a team that can go in the playoffs so people can like see you play under pressure.
You're right. And I think, with the LeBron and Michael Jordan scenario is just the games are so much different now. And so like it's honestly hard to compare.
Yeah.
So like if you're trying to compare those two, it's almost impossible to do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, everybody has their person, and I say this all the time. If you're a LeBron guy, nobody's going to talk you into Michael Jordan. If you're a Michael Jordan guy, nobody's going to talk you into LeBron.
Sure.
And that's just how it is.
Sure. Well, I think there's other stuff too, equating it to like female basketball. Like when Caitlin Clark was on the rise, like my wife and I were like record the game. Like if you'd have told me 10 years ago, like you're going to be recording Iowa women's basketball games and be like on the, like standing up, yelling at the TV and know all the players. I'm like, this is crazy. But it's like
crazy.
We were watching like a complete culture shift. Like the entire sport was changing in a matter of like 2 years. And I'm like, we have to pay attention. This is like crazy. People have been saying, you need to watch women's sports. You need to watch, they need, and like now you got a player that's like tractor beam for attention. Like
You're
that's
100% right.
it's a culture change forever,
You're right. Yep.
So I think that's super interesting, but you've passed the lightning round. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You're through the limit there. I think another good like question would be kind of jumping back into the AI stuff is where do you see this stuff continue to grow? You mentioned Gemini is kind of is a growing platform.
Mhm.
Where do you think this is going in the next like 3 to 4 to 5 years from now?
Yeah, that's a good question. And, I think that where we're going is that all the big players in AI will constantly continue to grow and eat up a lot of the smaller players, right? So like you're already seeing it where Claude came out with Cowork, and now Copilot's come out with Cowork. And then, Gemini has something similar as well, where there were smaller platforms doing those things, but then the bigger players saw that and they're like, well, we can do that too. So I think we're going to consistently see more smaller platforms launch or be released, whatever you want to call it. But then it's going to be so hard for them to continue to grow because of the bigger players, consistently taking what the smaller players are doing or are good at and making it part of theirs. So overall in the AI space, I think it's just going to be hard for small players to launch or start or grow, consistently.
Sure. Well, we see this with so like social media platforms and marketing, for example. Like, when it was all starting out, it's like Facebook was the big monster. They'd start eating these smaller companies. They'd see features that were crushing on other platforms and just blatantly rip them, which
What they call it, getting zucked or whatever.
Yeah, getting zucked. Like Snapchat, okay, the stories crushing it.
Yeah.
They're like, well, we can't beat them, so we'll just steal it and call it the same freaking thing. I'm like, how is that not illegal? But whatever. And then they're like, oh, TikTok's crushing us. Like, let's completely turn Instagram into a video platform. It's not photos. And it's like, they're just taking from things. And then you see like B-Reels. B-Reel was super big of like sharing your daily photo. It's like, then they started doing that. Like, I have a lot to say about how Meta doesn't come up with original ideas, and the only original ideas they do all suck. So they just steal other people's stuff. But that's whatever. Again, Zuck, if you're listening,
which he is,
fix some stuff. Come up with your own ideas.
I think that's exactly what's going to happen with AI. Is these big platforms are going to continue to grow and continue to expand and update, and it's just going to be harder for the little guys to do something that is, individual or unique enough to continue to be successful.
Sure. We talked about this with Ryan Dozer about AI Slop, a lot of just like in our world of the marketing side of people just hitting the easy button. And it's really obvious that people are doing that. What are some of your biggest pet peeve applications that people should probably just do themselves, or they're over AIing it and they need to really like reel it back because you're like ruining what the outcome is supposed to be like, or the process for people?
Yeah. So I'm pretty big on LinkedIn, and I think that platform specifically has gotten really big in that AI slop, you would say, or AI slop posts. And like you said, you, myself, Ryan Dozer can tell. A lot of people can't, and so I think that's going to a lot more people are going to continue to realize what is AI and what's not. The M-dash is a great way to see that.
When you literally just copy and pasted it from an LLM.
Yep,
so.
Just copy and paste it. But I think that's one big one. I think that emails are one that I think there is a way to be more efficient with emails and AI. However, even with my assistant that I mentioned that, essentially drafts a new email for me every time I get an email in my inbox, I have to go in there and look at it and say, hey, I don't talk like this. There's a level of efficiency that can happen, but also there's, hey, let's try to be a person and respond to this person. So, there's a lot of places where I think that AI slop is here now. It's just going to take a while, I think, to say, yeah, everybody can realize this now. So why don't we start to use AI for like ideation of content and then write it yourself, or, hey, write this for me. And then, I'm going to go in and change this, because that's not how I would, or that's not what I want to post, or that's not how I would speak. So, I think there's going to be, I would say, like a tipping point, if you want to call it that, but I don't think we're there yet.
Sure. Yeah. I think, I also agree with most of everything you're saying. It's like, I get where you're looking at your list of things to do for the week, and marketing is not the thing that you want to spend your time, or you're not good at it. So I'll just throw this into a prompt, copy it, paste it, whatever, or do an AI generated image or whatever. And I get people doing that, but it's like, I don't know. And again, I'm in the industry, so I'm a little like jaded to it, but not that I'm like bitter that they didn't hire us to make their graphic. Like, the graphic probably wouldn't have been made, period, if you didn't use a platform.
Right. Yep. And one of the best parts about AI and LLMs is that they learn from you, right? So if you are one of those people who is copy and pasting right now, you can start to evaluate those things and then train whatever AI platform you're using on what you would say, what you wouldn't say. And so eventually it's going to become, not necessarily AI slop, but hey, this is really what I'd say. And then you can look at it and be like, yeah, maybe this is how I would talk. And then that's going to start to unlock more efficiency, but also less, 9-paragraph LinkedIn posts that, nobody, at least myself, that I only read the first 2 sentences and then I'm like, oh, this is too long. And I just scroll through, So I think there's a level of efficiency that can happen, but it can't happen right when you start a Claude account or a ChatGPT account. You got to train it for that stuff too.
Well, and I know Ryan Tooney and I are hosting a lunch and learn tomorrow for the chamber at TCI. If you're coming around, check it out. It's really good. People listening to this will be like weeks later, so you won't even hear it. This will be like 3 months later when this episode comes out. But we were doing our kind of pre-meeting for that, and he was talking about how they have a very specific voice for the P&M brand that their company uses. They're very snarky and kind of tongue-in-cheek.
Sure.
So they've trained I think they use Chat GPT, but they've trained it where it's like, okay, we're hosting a X or ABC event. Can you write together like a social media post, like in our voice for this brand? But they have like 3 or 4 different brands, so they have different ways they do it. So there's really cool ways you can do it to train it. But I'm so torn because I'm the guy that like won't sign up for emails because I don't want people to know who I am. I don't share locations on my phone. I don't like people give their privacy for convenience. And I'm a huge convenience guy, but like I won't give my privacy. Like my doorbell camera is not owned by Amazon or Google because I don't want them to know every time I come to my house and be like, it's kind of a terror there. What do you feel like is the breaking point for sharing privacy for convenience? Like, where do you feel like the threshold is for the general population than for yourself as well?
Yeah. I mean, I'm probably more of an oversharer than what you just mentioned. And I do think that there's going to be a point where it just, everybody does it. I hate to, compare it to anything because I think it's larger than anything that's ever happened. Yeah. But, it's like like the internet. When the internet first came around, there were users, right? And then there started to be more users, less people that were like, oh, what's this? A www, what does that even mean? Or what's email? And there started to be more, then there started to be more. So I think as time goes on, there's going to be, more and more until it's more normal. Yep. So I don't know if I know an exact like timeline by any means, but I think that's how the process is going to go. Just like with the internet, probably just like the automobile. It's like, I don't want to ride around in this thing, but now everybody's doing it. So yeah, I could probably do it, so I think that's how it's going to go.
No, I love that. And for people that are listening, we interviewed my 97-year-old grandma and who was alive when they were riding horses. And like similarly, it's like they had cars out, but the roads were dirt and mud. So it's like not a lot of people drove them.
Sure.
But then once there's paved roads now, so I think like you're mentioning, there's these tools, but like once there's been well-paved, like you're in the thick of the woods of the unknown, once there's been some machete down trails and then people come and pave them a little bit. And then it's like, oh, just hop on the path. Like it's been paved for you. Like you can do it easier. Cause I think a lot of this is like, again, I'm a big convenience guy. A good example is like, okay, if I don't know how to eat healthy. This is a good one I heard was like, okay, here's throw it into a chat or a Gemini or whatever, Claude. Here's my measurements, my height, my weight. Here's my ideal weight or whatever. Here's my lifestyle activity level. How often do I exercise? Whatever. Here's the foods I like. Build me a nutrition plan based on that. Yeah. Granted, it's not a nutritionist, but it's like it can get you started. You can even take that output and be like, okay, create me a week's worth of recipes based on that. And now, okay, hey, my budget's $200 for the week. I'm shopping at this Walmart in this location at this address. Build me a grocery list for that.
Yeah. Yep.
And the final one is now take that grocery list, load it into my Walmart app and order it. And it's like, now you have zero excuse. Drive your happy butt over there, pick up your groceries and put it in your mouth and chew. Like how freaking like we used to click rocks together to make noise and didn't speak English. And now we're over here like beep boop bop,
And I mean, just like a year ago, another example like that is like, my wife and I, whatever, Sunday nights, we'd, sit down and say, okay, what do we want to eat, for supper this week or lunch this week? And we'd sit there for whatever, 30, 40 minutes, just like think of new meals, think of new things. And now it's like, okay, we enter everything into, Claude, or we could, and say, okay, here's what we had last week. We really like this, but everything outside that, we want new meals, and then make a grocery list for it. And then, we have a grocery list app and that's like, hey, could they put it in that app? Maybe. I haven't connected that yet, but
got your wheels turning now. You're
got my wheels turning now. Maybe a new workflow today.
Yeah.
So I mean, that type of thing is just like, it's just incredibly easy to do that type of thing now.
Sure. Yeah. Want to know, again, it's like looking at all your stuff you do in a day. Where are the things that you struggle with? Don't have the time, don't have the energy. Because I think about like, even in my wife's case, like she's always on her phone. Like she's good at texting and getting back, but like professional email's never been her thing. She's a hairstylist. So it's like, she never had to email people until she got her own business started, and then it's like, oh, like I'm dealing with inquiries and stuff.
Yep.
So a lot of times she'll like take her message, she'll text it out and then put it through a system and be like, make this more professional and less bitchy, please. Like, okay, you got it.
Of course,
So
yeah.
that's things like that. It's like, for me, like I've been writing professional emails for almost 20 years. So it's
Yeah.
like, I do that really
You
easy.
can do that. Yep.
And I can type like 160 words a minute. So it's like, it'd be easier for me to just type it out than like prompt it.
Ask somebody,
Yeah.
or ask an AI tool.
But
to
if
do it.
you're in here like, tick, 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 like chicken pecking, like, okay, you need your help. Like
Yep,
that's
for sure.
finding where you're at in that ecosystem is important. So,
Mhm.
but I think to your point, even the ideation stuff, you know, we'll sit down with clients. For example, we do content riffing sessions, we call them, where we create an entire month's worth of content in one day for
Mhm.
them. So we'll have them sit down. We'll do 15 reels or videos, short form, or we'll do longer form talking head YouTube videos or what have you. So a lot of times we'll do that if it's an industry I'm not familiar with or
Yep.
super smart on like the ins and outs. I'll say, hey, here's the client. Here's their website. Here's their LinkedIn. So you kind of know about their experience. Here's their ICP or their ideal customer persona. Please create like I would say like 50 to 100 social media video ideas based on this. And we don't copy and paste it and do it, but it's like, it gets the gears rolling.
Yep.
They'll kind of spit out a couple like, oh, we could talk about this or that, or, hey, we haven't seen this. And then sometimes I'll prompt with other things too of like, okay, now create a bunch of hooks for the social media reels based on, you know, short attention span, people
Mhm.
scrolling social media, like those types of things. So
Yeah. And it's, you know, for like the agency side of things, you know, the prototypical agency is like, you know your things, you know your tools that you use. But like in my world, I always say, hey, I'll get you 3 to 5 options of what you can use to take away this manual task. So, you know, I only know so much, but I have a conversation with somebody and I say, hey, they don't want to do data entry. Okay, I know two platforms that I've used that are really good at that. But I know there's also more coming out every day. So I'll go to Claude and I'll say, hey, here are the 2 platforms I know. What are some of the best reviewed platforms for data entry on the internet right now?
Mhm.
And it'll give me X amount more, and I'll go review those. And I'll say, hey, here are some more options. Here's the pricing. So like research like that is super easy now too. And it just gives people more options, which is, sometimes what they want.
Sure. Well, I think, again, find the right tools for the tasks. Another one that's lingering for me, and I've done a video on this, is Glasp.io. And it's a YouTube plugin that you can have where it'll pull any YouTube public video transcription,
Mhm.
and then it throws a pre-written prompt out into chat GPT of like, write here's the so I use it for podcasts like this, where I need a blog written about it, an email newsletter, social media posts, and for the blog, it needs to be like SEO rich, so then people can find like this episode's about AI, like AI. We'll just keep saying AI.
Yeah, sure.
Well, it'll transcribe it, throw it in, and then it spits it out. So I have
Yep.
and then I have like 4 or 5 other prompts that I would use with that tool of, okay, create me 20 YouTube video topic titles
Yep.
in the Mr. Beast style, which is like highly clickable, like, attention grabbing, shock and awe type of thing.
Yep.
Not like 10 AI tips for a business. Like, we'll try to make it as cool as possible. So there's things that you can do where, okay, I got to do this 52 times in a year. Every week we're doing this. So how do I optimize that and make it easier and faster? So I think depending on whatever business you're in listening, it's like, if it is data entry, if it's sales, if it's marketing, if it's whatever, it's like, try to find the tools that just shorten that distance. Cause I feel like if you're not going to do it without help, you can't afford to hire someone, like you need to use AI tools.
You're going to get behind.
Yeah.
With your competition, with, your daily workload, whatever it is. If you're not using AI, I think you're going to get behind.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, just again, find software that fills the blanks. We've done some videos for CallRail, if you're familiar with them.
Oh yeah.
We did some case studies with them of like,
Nice.
Their sales manager was losing his entire day just driving around and then like sitting in sales meetings with like HVAC company or whatever. And it's like, it's weird when you got 2 people in there, like sitting there selling you rather than just one person.
Yeah.
And the boss is in there watching him like sell, like, why is he sweating so much? What's his hands are perspiring? And then they don't close the deal. I was like, well, it's because the freaking manager was watching him.
Yeah.
So that's just an AI tool that, again, plugs in on their iPad as they're presenting, transcribes the conversation, kind of like Otter AI.
Yep.
But it'll send like note overviews and data and a ton of data to the sales manager so they can listen in and or see the transcriptions from all their sales team.
Sales calls, yeah.
And then the neat thing is they can spot, I would say, trends of like, okay, you talked 30% less in this meeting and it closed. And this other one, you wouldn't shut the hell up and then they didn't do it. So, or just different things. Or if you say too many phrases like, oh, you said free this many times and then they didn't buy because of cost, because you brought up free, the word free too much or whatever.
Sure.
So there's things like that, which are just so interesting.
Yeah. And can be such a advantage too, right? Like you think about that sales team compared to a sales team that's maybe not recording their meetings or just, hey, you're a salesperson, go out and sell. Just the data there and the amount that your salespeople can improve with that information is probably pretty staggering if you really look at it.
Sure. Well, and again, that justifies these software tools for charging like crazy membership rates. But if it increases your close rate by 20% and you're a $5 million a year company, it's like
ROI.
Okay. And we just made an extra $1 million a year. Like whatever they're charging is probably not enough. So it's like, that's part of it too.
Yeah.
I think a good piece to kind of tie this in for people listening more is really the strategy for young entrepreneurs. I think that that's a really good subset for this conversation because they don't have a team yet. They're low on funds, but they can be creative and younger people typically are more open to change than your crotchety old be like, all right, we've been doing it this year forever. So kind of thinking future proofing, I would say for our listeners that are like 20 to 35, if you're there, ayo, thanks for listening. If they're building a business and they want to own it for like the next 20 years and really grow it, how should they be thinking about AI differently than like the old guard and really try to be innovative with this?
Sure. One thing that they're already ahead on is being open to new things. I think it should be at least a quarterly activity that if you own a business, you should spend some time, whatever amount of time, on researching new ways to make your business more efficient. It can even be, hey, I'm using this AI tool now, but this one's, I might do the same thing, but it also does this, So quarterly, I think, whether it be founders, solopreneurs, or just, small business owners that have had a business for 20 years, whatever it is, that should be an activity that you do quarterly. And I think that'll help you not only expand your mindset or your business, but like open you up to new things that say, man, I could be this more. I can't remember what we were talking about, but you said you save like however many hours a week.
Calendly. Yep.
And you're like, you think about that. It's like 4 or 5 hours a week times 52. Again, we said that already, but it's like, just think about those hours. And that's just one tool that, honestly is probably not even considered an AI tool.
No, it's just a software.
It's a calendar scheduling tool, right? Yeah. And so like, number one, be open to new things. And number two, make it an activity that you do fairly regularly of researching new ways, new tools, new platforms that can make you more efficient.
Sure. Well, and I know one of the big things tying it in again to this presentation we're doing tomorrow is a huge push on like Google My Business, because a lot of local businesses are not understanding the power of that. So it's, again, working through your workflow. It's like there are tools that you could do to automate those things where I know I need to do it. I need to ask for reviews or referral, 5-star reviews, but like, I don't want to manually remember to do this. It's like there's software tools you can use. There's plugins you can use that a lot of them are low cost or no cost. So it's like, there's things out there for sure. One of the other things I want to talk about is kind of the cost of inaction. A lot of people are probably going to wait, feel it out. Similar to the car example, maybe they're riding the horse now. They see that fancy Model T riding down the street. The roads are still muddy. They're going to wait a little too long until you've got like a 6-lane exchange, like current day, to finally go buy a car. Transitioning that to like an AI application. What happens to an Iowa business owner if they really ignore AI the next 3 years and just like, we'll just wait on this?
Sure. I've mentioned it a couple times, but they'll be, I think, super far behind their competition that is using AI. And maybe even to the point where they're maybe even out of business because their competition is all using it. And that's scary, right? AI is changing every single day. I know that's been said plenty of times. So that's not just me saying that, but it's changing. And that means that your business could be changing every single day towards the better, right? And if you think about that, your competition is using it every single day. They're getting more efficient. They're saving more money. They're able to market themselves more. Those are all things that a business needs to do to stay above water and be successful. And if your competition is doing that and you're not, you think about every day for 3 years, that's a lot of days, and that's a lot of ground that you need to catch up. So, I say all the time, and I think if you're if you're not using AI in your business right now, you are consistently every single day falling behind your competition that is using AI.
Sure. I love that. We kind of talked about, again, AI slop, some of the overuse of it, kind of gearing it back to more like human-centric AI. How do we implement these tools without losing that like local or the personal touch? Because I think a lot of things, it's great until you're on a call with an AI receptionist. And you're like, then you catch them in it and you're like, okay, I called my local chiropractor, my dentist, and I'm talking to a robot. Like I didn't even know, so where's the kind of line that people should know that they can go to make sure they're efficient, but they're not losing that human touch?
Yeah, that's a good question. And I don't know that it's the same answer for everybody. I compare it to whether creating content with AI, you're prompting a tool to say, hey, create this content for me. And then you're just copy and paste it without looking at it. That's not what you want to do, because AI consistently hallucinates, and you talk about slop, and that's, slop, I think, came from the prompting something to create a post and then copy and pasting it, and it being, like I said, 9 paragraphs long, which doesn't really talk about anything. You can tell it has a ton of M dashes, whatever it is. So I think the answer to that question is different for everybody. I think that there always will be some aspect of human connection with everything. And, whether it be an answering service, a phone answering service that says, hey, this is an AI answering service. If you would like to talk to a human, hit 1 or wait for the tone or whatever it is. But I think that, similar to an example we were talking about earlier, as time progresses, these things are going to get more and more normal. And, individuals, whether they be customers or whoever, will be more open to it. And that person that's like, oh, I've been talking to you for 5 minutes, I didn't know you were AI. Like that's going to be more normal in the future. So I don't think there's an answer for everybody, just kind of a cookie cutter answer, but there's, that's part of being a business owner, I think, making that decision for your business, for you as a person. Yeah.
And I think it's very, like you said, dependent on the industry, dependent on the business. There's some things that work really well. Like I think of like my bank, all their chat support is based in Waterloo, real people, and they answer within like a minute of me hitting the chat button on the website. So it's like nice, because a lot of banks are old school. They don't have any of that. It's like, you got to call, or you got to come into the branch. I'm like, take me back and shoot me. I'm not driving over there to like, help me now where I'm at. Like, I'm not going to go in there. If you don't have a mobile like check deposit, like what are we doing here? Go to the bank every week on a Friday. There's a line at the door. I'm like, I'm not doing it. So there's things like that of like meeting your customer where you're at. But I think to your point of like prefacing it is nice, of like, if you're, again, local dentist office, it's like, hey, this is Ryan. I'm the owner of the dentist office. Like I'm actually working with patients right now, but I'm going to send you over to our, our AI powered chat thing. It works very well. It'll help you answer all your questions. If you run into other questions, you can just ask it, like leave a voicemail, and it'll leave me a message and I'll get back to it when I can. Something like that, of like, I can't get to you personally, but like, I'm going to give you an alternative rather than just like, hello, I am such and such. Like I'm a real person, I swear. Don't shake my hand because my hand doesn't exist because I'm a robot. Stuff like that, I think, would be a good tie-in of like prefacing it with that.
Yeah, but I think, like I said, that's just, you're a business owner. It's your business. Do with your business what you want. And I tell people all the time, everybody I meet with, that let's try some small things, whether it be, hey, let's maybe try it on a Friday morning. We'll flip on the AI answering phone service, see how it works. And then in the afternoon, we'll shut it off and we'll evaluate. So you don't, a lot of companies and business owners think they have to jump in, with both feet with AI. It's not. There are plenty of opportunities to like dip your toe in and see if it works. And if it works, then yes, let's maybe for that task, let's go all in and we'll do it there. And then let's dip our toe in with this next time, So that's one common misconception, is that if you use AI, you got to jump in both feet. And there's definitely opportunities to test things, when you start to use these products.
I love that. What is, I would say, your favorite resource for information on to stay up to date on this? Like a
Sure.
book, a podcast,
Mhm.
newsletter, something that people should subscribe to or check out to learn more about this stuff.
Yeah. So I listen to 3 podcasts every time they come out. One is My First Million, which is a great one. And it's not necessarily about AI, but a lot of it is AI. The Kerner Office is another one. That's Koerner. And that is a bunch of business stuff that is a lot of it's focused on AI. And then the Startup Ideas podcast is another one it's called Startup Ideas. So it's like ideas, which I have a lot of those. However, it's again a lot about AI there. One, I guess, newsletter that I read quite often is called I think it is the Superhuman, I think, which is a newsletter that I subscribe to. I think it's daily, so be prepared for that.
Add it to your 2,000 emails.
Probably one of the reasons I have thousands of unread emails. Yeah. So, and that's that's what I consistently go to. With customers, I use Claude as my AI platform, and I ask that questions all the time on like, hey, I use these tools. What else is out there that recently came out? So using your whatever platform you use to ask that, prompt it with that question is a valuable resource to find new tools and how to use AI as well.
Sure. I love that. I think, again, it's very dependent on the industry, dependent on your tolerance of the technology. But I think everyone listening owes it to themselves to, like, everyone's homework, find one thing in your weekly to-do list that sucks your happiness from you and it's like a pain in the butt, and just like, how can you use an AI tool to make half the time or even eliminate it completely? I think that's a big piece. So
yeah, in your personal life and professional, right? You can evaluate those two different things where, it's creating a grocery list. We spent half hour, 45 minutes doing that every Sunday. And now, we don't have to, so like those little things, you can for sure find tools to do that. And, it'll make your, I hate to say more enjoyable, but maybe more enjoyable, but 100% more efficient. You can be more efficient.
For sure.
Yep.
Well, I think, again, humans are creatures of habit. So if you're doing these things over and over again, it's like, and again, I think the outsourcing or bringing in help, whether it's a technology tool, a software, it's not even AI, outsourcing it to an overseas thing, if it's a price issue, or hiring someone in house, like whatever that looks like, fractional people you mentioned, like you don't have to do all this by yourself.
Yeah.
I think it's the big thing. If you're a solo entrepreneur, like I was solo up until like a year and a half ago, but I wasn't. I had overseas editing teams for basic edits. We use software tools all the time. We have a team of freelancers we use when we need them. It's like, everyone says they're self-made. Like, no, you're not. There's a lot of other people that have helped you along the way. But I think it's a part of it. It's like it takes human capital. It takes technology capital to really move the needle for businesses, and use what you can when you can. I think it's just, again, you got to realize if you're copy and pasting, it's probably not the best choice for anything. Like, maybe look it over once, take to 5 seconds to look it over. So
absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I think that's part of the learning process, right? I was probably one of those people when I first started using ChatGPT of just, I prompted it. It gave me this output for a LinkedIn post. Awesome. Copy and paste. I'm done. So like everybody I think has done that, at least, not in my opinion, not the way you want to do things, but that's part of the learning process. And as a business owner, I mean, all the business owners that are listening here know that you're constantly learning every day. Yeah. And this is just another thing you have to learn, in my opinion, to be successful and to be able to grow and scale as quick as you potentially could.
Sure. Tying it back to Big Creek and your kind of goal with the business, where are you guys at now in the company, and where do you see your business growing in the next 3 to 5 years?
Yeah, so I mean, I'm in the business. I have a lot of stuff, have a lot of services going on. So I recruit within that business too. Work with small business owners and stuff like that to implement AI, as we've talked about. But I just hope to keep growing. It's one of those things where finding opportunities is hard, nowadays, but I'm hoping, stuff like this, connecting with people through, chamber and events like that you're talking about as well, will help out. So I don't necessarily know that I know where I'll be in the next X amount of years, but at the same time, I just want to keep helping people, keep helping small business owners and make their lives easier. And I've been working around this area for long enough that I know that the more people I help, the more people will talk about it, and the more people know each other. So, hopefully that starts to kind of snowball a little bit, which in my previous, life, recruiting and stuff like that, that's how it worked too. So, might not be the best answer for you, but I just hope to keep growing and hope to keep helping people, with their AI journey and how they can start to use AI, and maybe even expand into new industries that I don't know much about, so I can keep learning that way too.
Sure. No, I love that. Do you ever see, and this is just out of my curiosity, do you ever feel like as you plug in with these business owners that you'll find a common trend, like CallRail, for example, of like, we work with a ton of sales teams. They all have the same issue. I want to work with a developer or an AI like implementer, or not implementer, but like a technology person, and like build something on the back of another tool. Like, is that something that you've ever thought about?
Yeah, for sure. And even creating content around, specific, whether it be businesses that I've worked with, I mentioned chiropractors, I mentioned, some others, but, I think that will start to show itself a little bit more as I work with more people. And yes, I mean, creating something on the back of, let's just say Claude, that's not me. I'm not that in the weeds with AI, but I do know people, you talked about Ryan. I watch all of his videos. Ryan's a great resource for anybody. And so I think that's probably in the future eventually, but at this time it's I would call it more high level of, hey, you can do this pretty easily.
Yep.
Let's implement that. So,
well, I think you're in such a pivotal time in this come up where it's like, and Dozer was right on. We had him on episode 9, I think, of the show. This is 112 or whatever it is. So he was one of the first people.
Lot.
And he was just a guy. And if you're listening, Ryan, shout out to your work ethic, because he started with 0. They're over like 40,000 subs on his Facebook or his YouTube channel,
yeah.
Millions of views. And now his community's grown. Now he can monetize it. So it's like, if you want to get into that space, there's a ton of it. I mean, I could give you a ton of advice on what he's doing, and you can even talk to him, but being the voice of it, when people are seeking that information out, it's so new, and it's like, they can always come. And like you said, you're plugged into your couple news outlets. That's where everyone's getting this information from.
Yeah.
And there's no AI college degree. There's no like accreditation. It's just like, who has their finger on the pulse that can be my source of knowledge.
Yeah.
And that's always great, because it's a vertical integration. If you start educating people on general topics, then, oh, I love that concept for the chiropractor. I'm a chiropractor, but I don't have the time. Can you help me implement it? It's like, boom, now you got a lead.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you're right. And I think that, I heard this on a podcast a while ago. But in the age of AI, it's honestly not necessarily what you offer, but how many eyeballs and ears you can get to what you offer.
Yep.
And, you're in that world, obviously, so you understand that. I mean, but that's kind of a mindset shift of, it has been historically, how can I differentiate myself from that company, my competition? Now it's not necessarily that. It's like, how can I get more eyes and ears on me, my business and my services and stuff like that too. So that's something that every business owner goes through, I think, but that's, in my head too. I need to get better at that as well.
Sure. Well, it's super interesting niche. Really excited that you came on and kind of sharing more. Again, we've had Dozer on twice now, but it's like, there's so much misinformation, but also like new stuff coming out weekly, new tools weekly, where it's like, even the other day, Evan and I were talking about this new AI video platform that like people have made. I know Logan Paul's team used it to create an entire feature length film, a 2-hour movie, because they did 3D scans of him and his brother and all their other people. And they like scripted it out. And like, again, the marketing industry is changing a lot with it, because Coca-Cola is doing commercials with like, it's all AI generated. Like there's all these things that are moving in that world. But I think especially in the spots you're helping people with, like organizational movement of like operations, I think that's the measurable thing that a lot of people can justify.
Yep.
They can save money on a receptionist, or not have to keep hiring a new one, or their sales team is inefficient. Like, how can we move the needle even 10%, 5%? Like, that's real dollars for people that makes a real impact.
Absolutely. And, I think that's what I go for. That's what I want to do, is having the ability to be able to save companies money, small businesses that, whatever be $1,500, $2,000 is a lot of money for some of these owners that I'm working with. And that's great. Like, if I can save you that money, awesome. If I can save your hours, awesome. Like, that's what I want to do. And, I just have such I get a lot of energy from like small businesses and founders who are in it just every day, working hard, trying to make their business a success and all that good stuff. And like I said, if I can help you out in a small way, that's a pretty good feeling for me.
That's awesome. Adam Viet, thanks so much for coming on the show. Where can people learn more about you, or if they like the tools we're talking about and they need someone to help them implement it, where can they go?
Sure. The company website is bigcreekgrowth.com. A lot of information on there, contact information, stuff like that. But I am on LinkedIn quite a bit, and then Meta Threads I've been on quite a bit as well. So those two platforms are where I spend most of my time right now. And yeah, I would love to, probably to a fault, I say this all the time, but I'm usually open to talking to people about this stuff anytime. So
just don't send him an email. He won't see it.
I'll probably see it eventually, but
you get a tool, get Lindy. I'll tell you about, hey, this person emailed you like 6 months ago. That's great. Adam, thank you so much for coming on the show, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome. If you guys made it this far on the show, you guys know what to do. Make sure to subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. The goal is 1,000 subscribers for this year, so we're almost there. Make sure to subscribe if you made it this far. You can also check out the description box for all the info that Adam has mentioned. We'll make sure to link all the tools and then also his information if you're wanting to reach out to him. And then you can also make sure to check us out on social media. We post daily clips from our last 110 episodes. We post every Monday morning with a new business and personal development conversation to make your week better. Until next episode, my name is Ryan Snod. It rhymes with odd, and I'm out. Peace. Thank you so much for watching yet another episode of the Rhymes with Odd podcast. We really do appreciate your support. If you could give us a 5-star review on Apple iTunes, that makes a world of difference, guys. Also, if you're tuning in on YouTube or Spotify, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss another episode, and check us out on social media. Also, if you'd like to inquire more about our services here at Snod Media Group or learn about doing your own podcast for your own business, you can find us at snodmedia.com. See you in the next episode. Peace.